Hello guys, and welcome back to Strategic Command World War II World at War with our Allied playthrough. The battle for Pearl Harbor has turned into quite a battle on the last episode, and the Japanese, instead of dealing the decisive blow to the American Navy to keep us out of their hair for the long term, in fact, they are suffering quite a blow. Sure, they did destroy a lot of what was sitting in the ports, but our reinforcements showed up. And while we did lose 2 of our fleet carriers, we have wiped out a battleship, a cruiser, most of the fighters and planes that the enemies brought. We've almost wiped out another fleet carrier, although it's really iffy on whether or not we'll pull this one off. If they stay and fight, we may be able to kill another battleship. Who knows? We got an escort carrier over here. I looked into this, by the way. These are a lot cheaper. 150 MPPs. Their ability to attack enemy naval units is low, as is their ability to attack land units. They're mainly for ASW purposes in this game, so that's what that is. I was scratching my head over this last time. There may be other stuff here that I also just don't know is here, but this is generally what we focused on last episode, and it went, I'd say, pretty well. Now, there's a lot of other things to look at this turn. Oh my god, these turns are starting to take forever. Let's go for a change of scenery. While we covered our plans for MPPs with the UK and USSR and opportunities we've been afforded, let's go and actually use the USSR and see how those opportunities currently fare. As of right now, we're just going to go ahead and reinforce anyone on the front that can be reinforced, which is not everybody. The corps over here at Venetisa or whatever is pretty much cut off from most supply and almost fully surrounded, so it's not going to be getting any relief or supplies anytime soon. Odessa still hasn't fallen. They still, except for by Kiev, haven't reached the Dnieper. My defenses everywhere else are not only holding, but they haven't even been tested. Up in the north, the enemies have yet to even push out to Riga. This last past turn, they haven't pushed up north, like, remotely at all by the looks of it. They are using 2 panzer tank groups, a huge investment, to try to batter away at Minsk, and, well, they're doing it. They are battering away at Minsk. However, Minsk has not fallen. We're going to go ahead and reinforce this as well. Minsk is still up, has some entrenchments, and the whole defensive line we have set up back here is not even so far being needed. It's January 30th. It's still snowing, slowing down their advance. We're getting more and more of our units ready to go. They seem to have committed everything down south here, and I'm going to get units showing up to hurt them and make them hopefully regret their attack and their one-sided focus down here, because we will be able to hold them off at this rate, and once winter passes, hopefully even go on the offensive. We actually had a small naval battle up here as well in the Gulf of Finland, where the Marat battleship got kind of fucked up because I ran it into an attack, but it dealt damage, definitely not equal damage. That was a mistake on my part, and also somewhere where if it was just one turn earlier, could have learned how easy it is for naval ships to sail over other naval ships. As the Germans retreated from the battle, however, they all pretty much went over the submarine, and almost all of them took additional losses. So, let's go looking. Oh, okay. We found the weakened German battle cruiser. This is the closest thing that came to death here. Doesn't look like we're going to be able to necessarily kill it. Well, actually, no, we might be able to, thinking about it. Let's go ahead and use the sub. Come on. Oh, we only dealt 1 damage. Damn it. Oh, and it's not close to the bombers anymore either. I got the bombers ready specifically for this reason. Well, unfortunately, there's no easy way to go after that. They had a vastly superior surface fleet over here compared to us, so there's really no point, unless we just want to lose the entire Soviet Navy up here. I'm just going to back this sub up a notch to get out of their line of sight, hopefully. Now, the snow here is going to make it hard for even us to get to the front lines and deal with everything, but due to how slowed the Germans are, this could hopefully only be a good thing. We do have the 12th Corps here that does need its AA defenses. We're going to go ahead and give it that. Who knows? Maybe we won't even need to, like, push up to Sevastopol. Maybe they won't push up. Maybe we'll be able to just defend the Dnieper and the river going forth here like I imagined just on the southern side. It does seem like it's going to be far more likely to work out. The Stalingrad Corps is pretty much ready to go whenever. Alright, so first thing we'll do is we'll take the 11th Corps, we'll swap it with the garrison sitting in this town whose name that I, cannot imagine saying. We do have a lot, actually, of capability right now to reinforce this front, and getting entrenchments in is going to be hard, but they're pushing so slowly, we have the opportunity to fill in the south. So we're going to start by selecting these corps up here, one at a time, and we're going to try to get some defenses up behind the Dnieper, because that's going to be the most important point. And one place of note actually could be right here, near this AA, who may have to end up retreating. We'll see. I don't know if they're going to try to attack across like that. Hopefully they don't. But they shouldn't be able to kill the AA anyway. So we got this corps down here behind the Dnieper in a very vital region over by Kiev. So even if Kiev falls, it will be hard for them to continue further. Now, for this corps, we also want to get somewhere behind the Dnieper. If we can prevent the Germans from getting across towards Sevastopol, that would be great, but simultaneously, my defenses around Sevastopol are so high that I think I'm going to prioritize the paths to Kharkov and going east, even though the Caucasus are important. We'll have so many units in reserve, thanks to saving the front line, it shouldn't be that tough to actually get any in position. So, prioritizing behind the Dnieper, let's see here. Let's go right here, and then fortify there. We couldn't get anyone right here. We don't have rail access to just drop off over here. I think it's because of supply. No, it's not because of supply. I guess it's just, I don't know why it is, actually. Well, either way. We're gonna get, do we have any more? We do. We have, okay. Oh, we have one more. We have the one at Stalingrad proper, the Stalingrad Corps. Well, that one's definitely going to move up. Only 2 more spots behind the Dnieper worth remotely moving up to. So we'll take the southern approach by Kherson. Might save the Sevastopol, who knows. And what do you know, we have another one, the 7th Army. Oh, this one's an army. Oh, that could be so handy down there. We're going to operate this army right down behind here as well. So now we have more behind the Dnieper. We got to get these garrisons out of here. They don't need to be here anymore. They're cheap to operate. We'll put them, for example, I'm going to send this one to, well, I'll send it over here where we just kind of left. And this garrison I'm still not sure about. I'm going to just move it quietly back this way towards this town, just as a backup in case they push this way, but I don't think they have a very good chance of doing that right now. We can upgrade the 5th Corps with AA defense. Anyone going to the front needs to arrive with AA defense, in my opinion. The German air power is so strong, if they ever take it away from the UK, we want to make sure we're ready for it. The MPPs are looking great, so I do feel like the UK's MPPs that I've sent have been perfect. More would be nice to maximize potential, but the UK has enough on their plate that I think that they need to just start hoarding from this point onwards, if they want to turn from holding to actually being able to fight back against the Japanese with their naval forces, as well as being able to take advantage of their positions in Europe and maintain, because as we've seen, the enemies here are being quite feisty in Greece, so we're going to need some more attention there, getting units up to snuff and etc. But we'll deal with that shortly. We're not there just yet. Up north here, I don't think we're getting pushed back to Tallinn. So I'm going to take this corps off of Tallinn. I'm going to run it down the road here behind Riga, where it can hopefully swap out. Next turn, I'm assuming their push north is going to continue to be pretty much unimpressive. We're going to take the 11th Army here, and we're going to move that as well. I'm not 100% sure on where to put this one, though. Well, we know we don't need to hold this road if this river doesn't get crossed. I'd never had enough to stretch across this river, which is why I just didn't try. However, I have quite a lot of leeway with how we interact here, so tell you what I'll do. We'll send this mechanized unit up into this forest. We'll send the first tanks, these are some normal tanks, up with them to help kind of guard the river here along the road. This army will move up just behind where this garrison is, and then hopefully be able to swap out as well, and we'll have a stronger front up here to talk about. We also have the first shock tanks that can move forward as well. There's no point to have them sit back here because they're not going to be needed back here, so we'll just move them along the road in that direction. The 13th Army, we'll come back to that. Honestly, it feels like our offensive in the north is already starting to gear up. I'm going to take the 5th tank off the front here, and I am probably going to move that as well. The Vladivostok Corps is probably not going to need to hold these defensive lines back here, so what we'll do is move the 5th tanks up here, move the 1st light tanks up behind everything else as well, take the Vladivostok Corps and actually move that up to the river to start entrenching here. We have enough time. They're not going to blaze across here at any good pace. So we've now stretched across the river and have a gigantic mechanized motorized force, including the armored train here, capable of pushing south the moment the opportunity presents itself. And quite frankly, the opportunity might present itself next turn, even though we're still in the winter. Our attention still needs to be in the south. There's a lot of corps, and as you see mechanized units here that escaped the front line. Thank God we got this away. This has got to be over 1,000, maybe 2,000 MPPs total saved. This is why we're not going to have to fund them with the UK for pretty much the rest of this. I hope the UK has sent enough that we can get all this stuff up to snuff right now, because if it has, perfect. Let's see. So let's start with this mechanized unit. We have to start getting upgrades on these. If I don't misclick, that would make it go faster. Anti-air, infantry weapons. If we had better infantry weapons, that would also help. How expensive is all this? 38 MPP per. Yeah, that's what I was concerned about. This is going to be very expensive, but if it works, if we have just enough, perfect. All right, let's see. So the Rifle Corps as well. Everything in the south is being prioritized. I'm not sure about prioritizing air. With all the snow here right now, air is almost useless. It's very hard to use effectively. You know, we could probably upgrade the Moscow Corps as well. I'm not so sure about that one. Oh, we missed a corps here for anti-air. That's not good. Definitely want to get that upgraded. Looks like due to a lack of actually having bomber research. Yeah, we haven't had any time to research any of that. USSR needs to get some research going as well. We can't upgrade these medium bombers. We've reinforced them and they're pretty much good to go. They're currently in snow, so they can't fly very far, but we're going to start flying them forward. The Kiev fighters can upgrade to advanced fighters, so we'll go ahead and we'll do that. It's really not as expensive as it looks. You know, we might actually have had more than enough. Okay, so we'd be on the edge, and we might not be able to do as much without all the money the UK gave them right now. But with the money the UK gave them, we might even be able to sneak in some research if I don't fully prioritize the troops. We'll go ahead and we will upgrade the Moscow Corps, because we could probably replace that with a garrison now that the chances of Moscow even being relevant in this battle is little to none. We have the 14th Army as well on Leningrad, which can be made good to go pretty much whenever. There's this battleship we have to pay for as well. How much is that? 83. Okay, maybe we will put the focus on the troops for now. We'll go ahead and get that back up to snuff just in case the German Navy comes back around. Hopefully we can continue putting some pressure on them from every which angle that we can. We can upgrade the Baltic fighters here to advanced fighters, so that would be handy. The tactical bombers here, they don't need to stay where they are. I'm a little concerned about moving them up, but I'm also not, because of how weak the enemy offensive in the north is. So I will go ahead and actually move these guys up just in case the enemy air or naval does come back. We have 290 MPPs left, so right now it's either units or research. As much as I'd love to start getting research, since the USSR is not going to be getting the 200 plus, maybe up to 300 MPPs that the UK can give them, we need to think about this more rationally. It's going to be a war of attrition, and we need as many units on the front as soon as possible. So, units it is. We have the Rifle Corps at Bryansk that we're going to go ahead and upgrade. We have this Rifle Corps we're going to go ahead and upgrade. We can upgrade the Western fighters. Let's go ahead and do that. We're down a little bit more here. The HQ at Novgorod doesn't need to stay where it is. We're going to move it up to Pskov to take the place of the units that were here so it can assist this front, which might turn into an offensive really, really soon. With that, there will still be more that we have to do in terms of reinforcing, but we have a lot of the upgrades done. Now, in addition, there's more upgrades we need to be done, such as for this corps, such as for this corps, and such as for this mechanized. Wow. Found a light tank unit that I've been accidentally ignoring. We're going to give that advanced tanks and anti-aircraft defense. Go ahead. This leaves us with 120 MPPs. Not enough for research, but thankfully enough to get some very important upgrades. One, namely being anti-air for this HQ. This is a very important HQ. Even though it's expensive to upgrade HQs, getting anti-air for this could be very handy if the Germans decide to put their Air Force over here against us. We can also do it for the HQ sitting on Smolensk, which I think I will go ahead and do here. The anti-air could be vital once we start actually pushing forward. We don't have enough to do this while also moving all these units here and upgrading these ones and getting them sent over. These ones are special. They're very elite, so we'll get them over as soon as possible. We're going to go ahead and... Wait, do we have the ability to upgrade these? No, this one can't even upgrade. There's no capability for it. This one already has its advanced fighters. This can get elite reinforcements. We'll go ahead and get that for it. We'll send the fighters just flying west for the time being. Okay. Yeah, for full preparation, we could have done with actually a little bit more MPPs, but the UK is going to need them way more than the US are at this rate. So I will hold to my convoy strategy and just try to buff up the UK, because the UK is going to be able to take a lot of the responsibility on their own shoulders, and the USSR with 180 MPPs being doubled from 80, or 90, or no, 160 being doubled from 80, is going to be able to do a lot in the long run, thanks to America, so long as we can keep Hawaii, which I have done, and so long as we can keep Persia, which I believe is pretty secure, thanks to China and some other factors like winning down here as well. We've been able, I think, to move this desert recon. We just haven't. I don't know, the turns are so long now, I'm really not sure. The UK's limited funds right now limits, of course, what we can do with them at the moment. We will go ahead and reinforce the Macedonian army. Its entrenchment is still fine. Reinforcing it should get its readiness back up to strength enough to withstand another wave of attacks. We may need to swap the core back on, funny enough, but for now, hopefully it doesn't come to that. Since we're not going to be continuing the Arctic convoys, we can take our destroyers away from that region. And for example, move this one down towards this convoy route. And probably the same with the Annapolis destroyer here. We can go move it down that convoy route as well. Especially now that we know some enemy submarines have been over here. Except we have managed to evade one. Well, evade, we heard it. The Montgomery is hurting as well. Let's see. We'll send the Castleton down this way. That'll free up a spot. We'll send the Montgomery. Can it naval cruise all the way up there? No, it cannot. We don't have enough to fix a lot of what we do have here, so let's go ahead and make some space. Move the Illustrious Carrier up to Belfast, because we're not going to reinforce that this turn. We don't have enough MPPs for all this crap. And, I'm nervous about the route that this is going to take. We do know the enemy German sub did go northeast, so we can go looking for it. And we found it! Yeah, we would have run right the fuck into it. Okay, let's go ahead and attack it with the Bulldog sub. Or destroyer. Get my words mixed up. We dealt 1 damage. We took 2. Not really the greatest. But we'll go ahead and cover the north approach as well. Oh, wait, no, there's another one. Holy shit, this area is so dangerous. We'll go ahead and attack there. Dealt 1 damage. Jesus Christ, they have so much presence down here. We definitely need to get destroyers moving in this direction. So we'll send the Mohawk down south. There's another one! Holy fuck. All right, go ahead and attack that one. Whoa. Okay, Lancaster. Shit, you're going to be needed east. You're really going to be needed in the east over here. So you're going to start sailing east. Now let's pray to the Queen herself that we can get the Montgomery out of here. Over to Bristol. Come on. Yes! Oh, thank God it made it out. And I have a bunch of other destroyers. 3 German U-boats here? Really? Holy crap. The amount of raiding that they could do to our primary convoy income route. Well, primary. The US is sending a lot as well. And once this damn winter's done, oh, you better fear the UK. Oh, you better fear them. And America will have less MPPs because 30% will be able to go through instead of 15% of total MPPs. And that shit will give us exactly what we need to get the UK to where we want them to be. I'm actually going to get a little more aggressive over here. I'm going to take the Courageous Carrier. We're going to sail it right down here. We're going to put it in bomber mode. Oh my god. They have 3 submarines over here. And then 1 over here. This must be most, if not all, of their submarine fleet. I don't know how many they have, but we're going to go ahead and bomb this one. Try to do some damage to it. Nice, 2 damage. Let's go again. And we killed a German sub. Hell fucking yeah. Alright. Cool. Now we can still be in range of these other ones. Let's go ahead and move the Courageous back here. Let's take the Ark Royal carrier, move it into that same position, put it in bomber mode, and then focus on the one that we know that we can, well, know that we can hit, that we know the strength of it. Dives from attack. Vigo port, access. Oh, the Germans were given access to Vigo as a port. No wonder they're crowding around here. This is where they're trying to recover themselves. There's a reason I put myself up against Spain, by the way, because Spain is not yet in the war. Hopefully they don't join like right now. That would suck, huh? And we can use the light cruisers here to form a screen that can stop anyone from even getting around to hit the carriers from any direction. I have to use 1 heavy cruiser to really pull that off, but should be fine. Honestly, they have moved so much fighter power over here that it's ridiculous. If there's still 2 German fighters, maybe an Italian one down here, they have a Romanian fighter up here. This is a proper battle for the Atlantic, and I'm a little nervous about spending anything more to bombard down here. At least I don't want to spend a lot like the Strat Bomber stuff, because our fighters are getting beat up and our carriers haven't had time to recover. I'll just do the tactical bombing right here, and that's about it. Yeah, because they have interceptors galore over here. We only have 1 escort really ready to take them on, and we dealt 1 damage, we took 2, and then our bomber took damage too. Yeah, it's real dangerous to keep operating with this strategy up here, but I just want to get a little bit of damage here if possible. We're going to go ahead and attack again with these Rupert Force Special Forces, dealing 2 damage, actually taking 1 this time. They keep reinforcing up to 7. The reason they haven't gone past 7 is because their supply here is just too shitty to actually do it. Their readiness and morale is down and low enough, and now that I know how our MPPs are going to be working out in the future, I will swap the UK First Corps, actually no, the Canadian First Corps forward. The reason being is because this corps has mobility, so if we do end up breaking through in any way, this is the one that I'm going to want there capable of doing it. This corps has now half the entrenchments. It can't necessarily hurt this too well because this is still very entrenched. Special Forces can attack way better. I guess we'll just have it take a defensive position while everyone else in the rear can kind of do some other things. One notable thing is that we can now get infantry weapons too, and in this tight space that could be very handy. So what we'll probably do is, now that we have a stronger corps up front defending, we'll probably reinforce and get everyone here with infantry weapons too. And if we get that, we should be able to break through here no problem in just a couple of turns, although that's going to be a little bit of an investment. Partisans here aside, because they're French, and partisans, like the French don't have any research at all, and even if these were the UK's, partisans can only get up to like level 1 because they can never be as truly effective as a trained and organized force. Greece is still where they are stretching us so thin. We can't actually, we don't even have the supply to get this plane up to 10 again. Its supply is limited for some reason, maybe because of bombing, I'm not sure. However, we will go ahead and we are going to reinforce the 7th Armored Tanks. 93 MPPs, very expensive. Holy crap. But we need to get them up to snuff for what we're doing here. We can't upgrade anything on the front, which is unfortunate. However, we can get the Greek corps in the rear here. Well, they can get elite reinforcements. We're not doing that, but we can get them upgraded with infantry weapons level 2, which gives us massive attack value increases, which are going to be probably vital in holding our line here. So we're going to keep going for those with every single one of these Greek corps in the rear. No mobility, that's just way too expensive. And then everything else here is unfortunately on the front. There is another British corps in the rear that we can get infantry weapons level 2 on. I'm going to probably prioritize that. We're down to 27 MPPs, very unfortunate. We won't be able to really recover any of the air or other naval stuff here like I would hope to. You know, we actually have more destroyers that we can get moving. I'll get the Ass Destroyer coming back around the rear here. Wonderful wording. Absolutely wonderful. And I'm not so sure if they're going to have anything over here, But we'll get the Jersey destroyer kind of heading in that direction. I'll just have it move normally, yeah, in case it runs into anything. Because we're going to need our destroyer force in the south. We're not going to need it in the north if we are not sending anything over here, which is going to actually free up UK resources as well. Now that the UK is, I think, our most stressed nation in terms of resources and where to use them. Getting the Columbia up to snuff is going to be pretty important. Luckily, we have space open at Glasgow here, so we're going to force march, sea march, naval cruise, whatever the fuck, our way over there, getting ready to repair that. Definitely looking forward to where we can take the UK from here, yeah. And I'm very thankful we had enough MPPs before the winter kicked in to get the USSR in kind of a stable point. We still have Ethiopia to consider. I will go ahead and Ardi, their capital, once again, which has like no entrenchment at this point. And we have them fully surrounded. So that's good. Let's start attacking with the Indians. The Indians have actually the best chance out of everyone to start doing some damage. Yeah, they do. So let's start with the Gurkha Special Forces. Dealt 2 damage. Took 1. Now for the BAI Army. I think that was 3? 2 or 3. The enemies are down to 2 strength. Oh yeah, this is looking good to me. And now, damn, no range on this whatsoever. That sucks. Now we will use the South African Corps, and just like that, Addis Ababa will fall to us. And this HQ is just out in the open. So we can start moving down towards it right now. We'll send the 1st South African Corps to pass over Addis and take it, and then attack the enemy HQ here. Very good. Good results. I like that. We'll take the other South African Corps, step on Addis over here, and we're going to move... We'll move the heavy artillery up first, and then we'll move the HQ up behind. We're going to move both HQs up behind. Yeah, just as far as they can get pretty much, so that they can keep supplying our efforts in this region. And we're going to get the Sudan Defense Force Corps moving into the mountains over here. Ethiopia should fall. We should be done here, and we should be able to get moving everything here. UK not having enough MPPs means we can't necessarily do much in this region. Let's see. Can we get ASW? Naval weaponry. Okay, we can get just about everything on the Vendetta Destroyer in Australia. So that's where I'll put the remaining 27 MPPs, because we do know that there is an enemy submarine here. We'll get the Alwyn Destroyer moving in that direction. And hopefully the 2 of these destroyers can work together to get rid of this, so I can start cycling the Australian ships towards India to get kind of the entire British colonial fleet together and deployed fleet. Get them upgraded, get them up to 10 strength, and have them operate separately. Because if we do continue, and if we do successfully get the Akagi destroyed, we end up crippling the Japanese carrier fleet, then the British fleet will actually be strong enough, which it wasn't historically, to operate independently, especially as the other ships arrive, especially as the one carrier that I know they're going to be getting over here arrives. They'll only really need the one carrier, and that's it. And then we can use the British over here to defend Australia, namely, and everything else over in this range that they have to keep track of, while the Americans recoup their losses and get ready for a slow grind of a push going inwards towards Japan through the Pacific. On that note, the DEI did fall, but the DEI's submarine actually stayed with us, and we can see it's pretty much clear going northwest of here. I'm not going to take any chances with forcing my way through. We're going to want to get this submarine headed to India so it can get up to strength, and UK doesn't have any upgrades for... Oh my god. Okay. Well, we ran into the Soryu carriers. Okay, so they do have 4 fleet carriers, although 2 of them are here. You know what? That was a very vital bit of intel we just gleaned. So now we know what's over here is all that's over here. If we can kill every fleet carrier over here, Japan will be down to 2 fleet carriers and an escort carrier, having lost other important surface fleet ships as well. Cool, okay. Now, I still hope the submarine can get out of here eventually. Thank God we didn't naval cruise it. I'm glad we did get that information. That was quite a way to get it. Having completely finished up what we're going to do with the Brits, I think I'll call this episode here. Next time, we'll take on China, the rest of what we have to do with America, India, and maybe see the following turn come into play. But for now, thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.